Welcome to Miles Ahead,
I'm Miles.
and I'm Bradley. Today we are going to be talking about the latest Netflix hit, The Thursday Murder Club. Four retirees in a quiet English village form a club to solve old crimes. When two local men are murdered, they uncover links to a decades-old killing and hidden secrets in their own community. In the end, they solve the mystery, save their home, and prove they're sharper than anyone expected.
It's a good film. I think I enjoyed it. I think the cast was well cast. They all did very well. The main four, particularly Helen Mirren, Ben Kingsley, who hasn't been in a film in a while, I'd say. Piers Brosnan and Celia Imrie as the main four, if I'm correct. This is going to be an interesting one because you've actually read the book.
Yeah, it's it's pretty much the same as what happens in the book, to be honest. Um, it's a little bit different, but not a huge amount.
Or maybe we'll talk about that a bit later. As you said about the plot, it's basically four old retirees solve a murder, and as usual, murder mystery goes, there's more to it because it can't just be someone's dead. It has to be more interesting these days. I enjoyed the film. I think it's very heartwarming at times, a bit sad. I think obviously the idea of four pensioners pretty much solving their crimes.
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
mean,
say it's quite unique, but it's definitely different to your usual murder mystery TV show or film.
it's an unlikely sort of murder mystery type of thing because normally you get some sort of detective who's retired or
Mm.
some private investigator or some rogue policeman who wants a woman who wants to solve cases away from the police bureaucracy and stuff like that. So I think it's quite a good setting to have what Richard Osman did with having retirees sort of take the form and four quite mysterious figures, I would say. Well, one of them in particular, because you don't really know who she is really until the end. Um, so yeah, it's it's a hugely popular book, and this is set out to be and is a hugely popular film.
Is the book like internationally sold well, or is it just mainly in Britain? Because obviously
I'm
Richard
not too
Osman's more of
sure. I
a
think it is international. I'm not too sure. Let me have
okay. 'Cause I'm
a
just saying, I know we're going a bit off topic here, but for us Brits, we all know who Richard Osman is, or at least have heard of him. But for the others overseas, unless they're really interested in British television or game shows, they might not necessarily know who he is, or at least what he looks like. So I'm just curious.
yep, record-breaking international bestsellers. And
Okay,
sold over 10 million copies worldwide.
as you can see, it's a popular book as well as a. Is it in the top 10 on Netflix? Or
I
at least in
think
the
so.
UK?
I think
Yeah,
so.
so I mean, usually
Yeah.
things that are quite new are always on the top 10 in Netflix. Usually.
Yeah.
It depends.
The cast, I mean, he managed to get a really good cast for this. I mean, a lot of big names, obviously. We have an ex-James Bond in there. We've got Helen Mirren, who's obviously well regarded. Ben Kingsley as well, who's done a lot of different roles. Daniel Mays, who always seems to get typecast as a police
Yes,
detective.
the chief detective, the one who
DCI Chris
likes
Hudson.
cake. But yeah, the one who likes cake. Let's just say that. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, he does. I think he's definitely the more, like, sort of, he's the more typical, like, comedy detective kind of thing. If you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But there's always, like, in those sort of stories, there's always one that's a bit more into it, a bit more serious, and there's one that's a bit of a jokey-ish character where they still take their job seriously, but they're a bit of an idiot at the same time. And
Yeah.
he's definitely into that ballpark. And we've also got the other. main policeman who's also the, I guess, insider for the club.
Do Donna de Freitas,
Yes,
played
played
by
by
Naomi Aki.
yes, Naomi Eki, who I think recently played Whitney Houston in the biopic, if I can remember correctly. I mean, yeah, again, there, as I said before, they're definitely those two ends of the stick in that sense. And although it's fairly typical, it's done well enough. I can't really
Yeah.
say it was done poorly. I mean, you can see what it is.
So I guess we could talk about the plot. So the movie sort of starts uh, with Helen Mirren, who plays Elizabeth, Pierce Brosnan, who plays Ron, and Ben Kingsley, who plays Ibrahim, who are sort of the main three, and they're looking for a nurse, and Joyce, played by Celia Imrie, I think I said that right. Um,
It's close enough.
sort of, she recently joined the retirement home and sort of becomes part of the team because the club because they're effectively looking for a nurse, and she was a nurse, and they wanted her
Hmm.
opinion on a cold case that they were trying to solve, which kind of gets nicely wrapped up at the end. I would say it's
Yeah,
sort of put in the back burner, but then it's sort of brought back
yeah,
again.
yeah, they bring it back. I don't know if it's the same in the book, but I thought they were sort of, she was going to be like the sort of, although yeah, they're centered on the main four, for because there's always that one who's a bit more of the lead. And I thought that was going to be her, but it was more Helen Mirren because she's more of
No,
the
I mean
leader. Is that the same in the book, or do
the
they all get
so
equal amount of time kind of thing?
the book sort of jumps the main person's perspective is Joyce. So the book sort of starts off in the well, it's mainly in the view of what Joyce sees, and then some, and then obviously it switches when Richard talks about something else in the book, but it's mainly Joyce's view, Joyce's vision.
Okay, so you sort of changed it a bit because what I'm saying, if you haven't seen it, is like I thought this would be more like Joyce's sort of main. She'll be like the main part of the story, and it's not like she does nothing after she's introduced. She does. She still has an important role, but I'm more
Yeah,
focused on
yeah.
The
But
Helen Mirren character, I guess, because she was a bit more interesting in that
yeah, I
sense.
mean
And it's Helen
Helen.
Mirren. You can't really,
Yeah, I mean
sideline Helen Mirren.
Elizabeth is sort of the head of the group-ish. But I think because the book is sort of told in the view of Joyce, there's maybe a bit more emphasis on her as a character, when actually it's a bit hard to sort of to do that in a film where you want all the characters to sort of shine, but you have this one character that is the
Mm.
book sort of view is based off. So I
Yeah.
think he managed to balance it somewhat well, but yeah,
Yeah, I know you're saying he, but I don't think Richard Osman actually had much of an input in this film. I think he's just a producer.
yeah, probably yeah, something like that.
But
I
yeah,
was expecting him to. Oh no, he is a writer as well.
oh,
He's
okay, fair enough.
he's at least on IMDb. He's under writer. It might
Okay,
just be because he wrote the book, but I don't know.
might be because of that. The director of this film is Christopher Columbus, who most notably directed the first two Harry Potter films. And, he's done some hit and misses since then. So some people don't like the Percy Jackson films, but I think it's probably one of the best films he's done in a while. And I can't say I've seen
Yeah,
every Christopher Columbus film since Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, but I think for what it is, it's an enjoyable film. I think can't necessarily say that there's something you won't like because there's definitely something enjoyable for everyone, even if a murder mystery isn't your cup of tea or it's
yeah,
not your.
it's a family sort of family friendly sort of film. Maybe viewer discretion advised because there is a bit of not gore and blood, but there is a little bit of sort of blood. Um,
We've got to talk a bit about some of the side characters, such as Tom Ellis is Richie, who's played by Pierce Brosnan's son,
Jason Ritchie.
Jason, who's a boxer or something.
yeah, ex-boxer, and
obviously,
then
and
yeah, he
if
sort of goes on all these reality TV shows
yeah,
afterwards once he finishes his career.
yeah. So obviously, so if you don't know, Tom Ellis played Lucifer. Yeah, he does good. He does good in that. I think yeah, he's not in it much, but I guess that's being a side character.
It's a fairly different character to what he would normally play, I think. Sort of this rough
Oh,
and tough sort of
I thought you
guy.
meant from the book.
No, no. In
Okay.
terms of what Thomas was played
Okay.
before, it's sort of rough
Yeah,
and tough. Yeah,
rough and tough. I
and he
wouldn't say he's
sort of
rough and
played a
tough,
bit
but I
more
get what you're
sort of
saying. He's a boxer, so he's quite muscly in his
yeah.
physique. He can be a bit,
And in Lucifer, it's sort of a bit sort of upper classy type of
yeah, yeah.
characterization,
It's
and
definitely,
also
if you
that
see
in
that and then
Miranda when he
Lucifer,
was
they're
in that.
completely different. Oh, yeah, he was in
Yeah,
Miranda, wasn't he? Also got David Tennant as well, which I guess it's a very, not definitely different role to what he's played before, because he's definitely played tough pieces of work before. But
yeah.
it's quite
I feel like
refreshing to see him just be an absolute dickhead, which is
yeah.
basically his character.
I think post Doctor Who, he's definitely played more sort of villainous characters, sort of more
Hmm.
antagonists. He hasn't
I
really
think it
played a
depends.
good guy.
I think he had a fair mix, to be fair.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, he has done quite a few. It's like Jessica Jones is a notable example where he was the villain for at least the first season.
Good Omens. He sort of plays a bit of a well. I mean, he is the devil, so he plays a bit of a
Yeah, he's
rough.
it.
He's not necessarily the villain in that. He's just
No,
sort
he's not. I guess it's quite refreshing to see him just being an absolute dick. And he obviously he's a good actor, so
of yeah.
it comes across very well.
I mean, this wouldn't be a Richard Osman film without Ingrid Oliver.
Who, if you don't know, is his wife, who
Yeah,
plays Joyce's
Osgood
daughter,
and
or Osgood in Doctor Who.
yeah,
If you remember, if you watch Doctor Who, if not, you might know who that character is. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's a very small role, to be fair.
yeah,
Talk a bit about the ending. Obviously, won't spoil it because that's not what we do, or we try not to do. So you talked a little bit about the differences between the book and the film, but I guess as I said before, you've actually read the book. I
most of it. Yeah,
guess I thought you read the whole thing.
not the whole thing, but most of it.
Okay, that's my bad. I thought you read the whole thing. Um, I guess from however much you read, I don't know percentage wise how much you read, but I guess how much does it differ from because obviously with adaptations, there's always bits that they change or get rid of from the source material. So I guess how much is it sort of true to the book and how much did they sort of go their separate way with it?
I think it does follow much of the book. Obviously, I mean, it wouldn't. I mean, it's the same story. It's not massively different. There are obviously notable differences. Um, there's not a massive difference, and it still follows the same sort of story, and it's still very much sort of the book. Um, it's not a huge amount of difference.
Overall, it's a it's a good film, It's enjoyable 2 hours of your time, you know.
Yeah,
It's got a good cast in it, it's a well casted film to be fair, despite the matter of the size of the character. Everyone does what they needed to do. The plot works. I think, as we said before, the beginning case, which is a cold case, that's as much as I'll say about it. About that getting folded in near the end as well. It was like, well, like a very clever way of doing it. I'm gonna guess that's the same in the book. I don't know how much you read of the book, as I said
yeah,
before.
yeah.
Okay, I just, but yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I think there are other books, aren't there? So do you think there'll be a sequel or
I think there are I think there are talks of I think there are talks of doing the next sort of book as a um yeah, I think the talks are going on sort of behind the
okay?
scenes, yeah.
I guess I have to wait and see then.
I
That's
mean, I suppose an interesting thought is so I've been reading a couple of the reviews on IMDb, and they're all sort of saying that like it should have been um like a mini series or a series, and I think it could have worked better as a series, having sort of like a serialized sort of concept. So one series of like 6 episodes or maybe fewer, looking at the first book, and then maybe if that goes well, sort of doing a second series that focuses on sort of the next book. I think that could have been better. I think the film format, I think it's quite popular for sort of books that turn into TV or films. But I don't think necessarily they all books need to become like a film. Some books are better suited as some books are better suited as a TV show rather than the film. Um, yeah, I guess what do you think?
it could have worked well in both formats, to be fair. I think it would have been just as good as the TV series as well as the film.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Repeat myself.
overall it's a good film. Yeah, I mean, if there is a second one, it sets up sort of the characters nicely.
Mm.
It did a lot of that and a lot of yeah. It didn't change the book a lot, which these sort of things sort of have the tendency to do, I suppose, because it makes sort of better content maybe. But yeah, I think it was overall. I think it was a good film.
Yeah,
It didn't blow me away, but it was a good film.
yeah, it's an enjoyable film. Uh, I'll probably get a sequel, depending on how well it does. And when it does, I'm sure we'll review it then. So you've been listening to Miles Ahead. Catch you next time.